we are going to do a tasting and review of a sleeping giant Australian whiskey called Spring Bay. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for being here once again with me. If you are new to the channel, my name is Wade, and today I would like to take a little bit of time and share with you another Australian whiskey from a distillery in Tasmania called Spring Bay. Beautiful distillery, very small craft-like distillery that is right in that middle ground between the lush environment of Tasmania and the coast. Beautiful clean water, but also a coastal influence. This particular one that we are going to do today is their Rheban cask strength. So it is a port cask, and this one is 58% ABV. Now, I am most certainly a lover of single malt whiskies from Scotland, but there are also so many great Australian single malts that I would love to give a little bit more of a shine and limelight to, which is why I do these ones on my channel, being based in Australia. I know that some of these are challenging to find if you are overseas, but if you do visit Australia or do have access, I would say Spring Bay is one that I think you should keep your eyes out for. Distilled in 2019, and I bought it last year in 2022, so it's a 3-year-old whiskey. The difference being in Australia with our climate, 3 years is far greater maturation that you will experience. It does sound young in terms of an age statement, but it's important to remember and factor in the maturation of the whiskey in different climates. So if you look at the color on this, this is natural color. That gives you an indication of the levels of maturation you have in only a 3-year period in this country, right? Let's pour a dram now. That was a good cork pop. And begin with the nosing and tasting. Gorgeous. Beautiful whiskey. Okay, this one being 58% ABV, I'm going to try neat, and then I'm going to add some water. It's very important, I think, to open this whiskey up and reduce it down to a level that's manageable. Be prepared to pay around 250 Australian dollars, and I know that is huge in terms of comparing Scottish whiskey or Irish whiskey in this country, but if you're comparing other Australian whiskies, this is the realm in which these whiskies live. Let's try now on the nose and see what we get. It's completely different to Scotch whiskey. So beautifully rich. There's always this common note that I get on Australian whiskey, virtually every Tasmanian whiskey being this citric, but not oranges, almost like mandarin. That seems to be common, and I would attribute it potentially to the water source. For some reason it's there, and I have never smelt a Scotch whiskey that has this note. It's so different. It's just it's creamy. It has like this sweet, syrupy, almost like a golden syrup type note, combined with oak and a beautiful rich maltiness. I get berries on this one. Think raspberries, currants. Fascinating to have a similar cask used in different regions of the world, and you're getting a completely unique and individual experience on both. Pickles. If you have pickles on a McDonald's hamburger, like a Big Mac, this just a note there, just pickles. It's so weird. There's a varnish note to this, an old mahogany desk with a lacquer on it. It's very pleasant nose. Let's try now on the palate, and then I'm going to add some water and try again on the nose and on my palate once we've added water. But for now, let's try it neat at 58% ABV. So here we go. This is gorgeous. Exceptional, just so rich and oily. There's heat here, but this is not unbearable at 58%. This is manageable. So much velvet thickness. It's mouth coating, almost like a beautiful, burnt brown sugar syrup, the golden syrup, molasses, toffee. The woody notes are coming through. Dry hay is coming through. Beautiful contrast of this sweet and a grassy note as well, like dry leaves almost. Mandarin, those citric notes are there, but you've still got this richness. The cocoa notes, the little touch of leather. It's a beautiful whiskey. This is, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a sleeping giant. This is one of the nicest Australian whiskies that I've had, and I think just the scale that Spring Bay is still so very craft, and you pretty much buy from independent retailers or them directly off their website. One that you should seek out. It's most certainly worth seeking out. One of my favorite Australian distilleries. Let's try a little bit of water now. Half a cap is about 2.5 mils of water. Okay. Okay, let's see if this has changed and opened up the nose with a little addition of some spring water. It's certainly changed it. Yes, it's just woken up. The aromas were there before, but they were sort of muddled. And as soon as I've added the water, it's just brought it to life. Beautiful toffee and leather. The varnish. Plums and the berries. Beautiful nose. Fantastic. Let's try now on the palate for the finish on the Spring Bay The Rheban cask strength. The flavor has become way more apparent, but I enjoy the mouthfeel without water, the thickness and the oiliness, the richness of it. But with that little drop of water, you're getting a slight touch of bitterness on the finish. Lots of that citric type note is there. It's very present. If you're a fan of lark, you'll probably like this. It's got a similar profile, but I think this is more rich and decadent, and I prefer this one. I most certainly recommend this. I know it's going to be difficult for many of you to find, but if you can find this, please seek out the Spring Bay Rheban cask strength. It's a fantastic Australian single malt from Tasmania. Wonderful, wonderful whiskey. Please make sure that you check out this next video of Overeem Australian whiskey that I did as well. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.